Problems are the fuel for growth.
Winners speak with their heart, and you can tell when you talk to them that they care about everything that they're around, they care about everybody they're talking to, and they're consumed with winning.
See change as growth. See change as transformation. See change as evolution. See change as necessary. See change as critical. See change as inevitable.
There's two types of mindsets. Number one, you got a fixed mindset.
Yep.
Okay, this is a person that's watching this for entertainment, right? They want to get maybe a tip, a tactic, a trick. They don't really looking to grow and change your life. And then number two, there's a person that's like a sponge, and they have the growth mindset. And this person is very, very dangerous. And this person can be the next person that is a billionaire. You can take over the world and nobody can stop you. As long as you do one thing, you'll self-educate. I didn't need a degree. It didn't matter what my last name was. It didn't matter if I had a wealthy family. It didn't matter if I was once a loser. None of that mattered. What mattered is, who do I want to become? It's not about who you are, it's about who do you want to become. So I'm going to ask everybody, who do you want to be? Not who are you, okay? Don't look in the mirror and see yourself for who you are now. Who do you want to be? And I was a loser, and at 18 years old, I was a loser. I can tell you for a fact that anybody that was around me got no value out of me. And I didn't like that. I looked in the mirror, didn't like who I was, and I decided to make a decision, which I'm going to ask you guys to make today. Who do you want to be? The only thing that's holding you back is you. It's by deciding to be a contributor. Bring it, guys. Every single one of you has more inside of you that you haven't brought to yourself. And it's time. So this is the goal. The goal is, it's about how to outdo ourselves every day. I say, do you want a different life? He says yes. And I said, why can't I hear it in your voice when you talk to people that it sounds like you want a different life? Because you speak with your mouth and you've settled. Winners speak with their heart. And you can tell when you talk to them that they care about everything that they're around. They care about everybody they're talking to, and they're consumed with winning. They don't care if they're broke. Matter of fact, winners go back to broken on E and zero every day. Me and my wife, we go back to zero every day. No matter how much money we got in the bank, my wife knows the way that I work when I'm pissed off is that I'll go make as much money as I want. Comfort will kill you. This is when we're looking up, and in 6 months from now, some of you, you're doing things that no one ever believed you would do, and you're so far along, and they're going to say, how did you do it? And you're not going to have the story say, well, I wanted to be the best. You're going to say, dude, all I did was get better every day. And it was consistent, and there was a compound effect, and this is how winning gets done. As long as you know that you did that, don't lie to yourself, man. As long as you know you did that, he's like, eventually you're going to look up and you're going to be number one in all those areas.
Every day we change the world, but to change the world in a way that means anything, that takes more time than most people have. It never happens all at once. It's slow, it's methodical, it's exhausting.
What if it's a mistake? It's a mistake. Rest assured. What do you know? You're going to stumble around, right? And what's going to happen is this. You're going to not stay in stasis. You're not going to wander around in circles. And I see people like that. They said, well, I never knew what to do, and now I'm 40. It's like, that's not so good. That's not so good. And you might say, well, and there is a literature, too, that suggests that people are a lot more unhappy when they look back on their lives about the things they didn't do than they are about the mistakes they made while they were doing things.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work.
Until you say, yeah, I'm gonna take action. Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. I just want to remind you, because I've spent a lot of time in my life sitting around wanting things to change and not being able to make them change and not thinking I could. And I wish somebody had told me that earlier sometimes, that in order for something to change, there needs to be change.
You cannot stand still, because the world moves away from you if you stand still. And there's no stasis, there's only backwards. And so if you're not moving forwards, then you're moving backwards.
I feel like we sort of focus on right ways and wrong ways too much. And
every time you have changed, you feel pain. You stepped out of one relationship to another, and you feel pain. You leave one neighborhood to another, and you feel pain. You go from one job to another, and you feel the fight. fire of transition. See change as growth. See change as transformation. See change as evolution. See change as necessary. See change as critical. See change as inevitable.
And so if you're not willing to be a fool, then you'll never start anything new. And if you never start anything new, then you won't develop. And so the willingness to be a fool is the precursor to transformation. And that's the same as humility. And so if you're going to write your destiny, you can do a bad first job. You're going to get smarter as you move forward.
When you can learn to do things when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, when you can learn to push yourself to do them, that's when the world opens up to you. That's when success knocks at your door.
There will never come a time when you can just happily coast through life.
It's hard to stay governed by anxiety. It's hard to be inconsistent. It's hard not to have daily disciplines. It's hard not to believe in yourself. It's hard to be broke. It's hard to be poor. It's hard. It's all hard. So choose your heart.
What happens when I decide for myself that I'm going to do something different?
You've got the gift of life. You have the privilege of being here. Quit playing small. You were meant to do great things.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, man.
Problems are the fuel for growth, right? And so it's like if you don't have any problems, you're either a liar or you might call them challenges. It feels better. I understand that. But you know, anybody who doesn't have problems is either totally asleep at the wheel or they don't have much of any kind of a life. You know, no responsibility, nothing they're building. So I think the first thing is this misnomer that if I have a problem, there's something wrong with me or my life. And I think the second one is this delusion we've sold people on that getting what you want is going to make you happy. We say you lose it, you don't actually lose it, but it gets weaker and weaker, as you well know, right? And what happens the minute you start making demands on it, especially if you haven't made demands in a while, it doesn't take much to see real muscle growth, right? And so it's like if you constantly live in fear, your world gets smaller and smaller and it tends to get more fearful. Like, who's more fearful? Someone who's broken 10 bones in their body and healed them as a kid, or someone who never broke a bone? You know the answer is. I always tell people, a belief is a poor substitute for an experience. You're a 68 degreer, what the hell are you doing? We've all experienced that. All of a sudden you go, I'm not gonna live like this anymore. I'm not gonna be in this relationship. I'm not gonna be fat like this. Boom, and you get this drive and you start to change.